You're such an asshole.
Okay, how you kids doing? Old Cappy here at AssholeConsulting.com. We've had an incredibly patient Marine, but I had to do some research, and then I also had to do a bunch of shit in Vegas. Hey Cappy, I'm an 18-year-old male who's currently in the Marine Corps. I'm about 6 months in my initial 4-year-long contract and currently in my MOS school. Despite enjoying the Corps, I don't see myself spending more than 8 to 10 years tops in it, so I'm curious as to what are and will be solid career options in the near future. My MOS is artillery, specifically the guy who handles plotting all the shots, telling the guns where to shoot, and making sure we don't shoot the wrong person or thing. 0844 is the MOS code. If you want to research it, I've been told that this could translate in air traffic control due to already working a high-stress, no fuck-ups allowed kind of environment. I'd like an in-depth review of that job field specifically, plus some of your recommendations for jobs post-military. If you response, I'm willing to pay. Thanks. Then I had a couple questions here. Because I talked to a buddy, and then he told me, and I'd call my other buddy, and he said, take some research, blah, 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 made payment. And so what exactly do you do with the battery, with the artillery? He says, so my job I want to make sure you setting up the gun, or you calling in coordinates, you with the radar, you say you're with the radar car. So in my job, I almost never actually touch the gun itself. I'm usually way behind it on the radio receiving the calls for fire. This is a lot of plotting coordinates and grid squares on the maps and then triangulating between the spotter, target, and the guns. So I do trig and algebraic equations to determine the angles needed to aim the gun. For computers, I only learned how to use a computer as a calculator and plug equations into it. Despite this, I'm still taught how to do most of the math by hand. As for career fields, I've heard that cybersecurity is growing and in demand, particularly by the government, and that can pay pretty good. I don't have any experience, but my higher-ups have told me that the government offers multiple avenues to use to get into that sort of thing, including multiple classes I can take for some certification for free, regardless of my current job. Overall, you are definitely right in saying the artillery barely, if ever, communicates to the civilian world. Yeah, and that's, I talked to my other buddy. He's Air Force. And he is in charge of training. How does this work again? He is with the B-52 group. And the B-52s have all this ordnance and weapons. And he trains the Army guys how to call in strikes from the B-52 guys at the Air Force so that the Army guys don't basically blow themselves up. So it's kind of similar, I'd say. And he's like, yeah, there's really no... there's no companies out there go blow shit up. So your artillery is going to have. Now, the radar, I think you're saying you're working next guy on the radar. Bear with me, we got a lot of communication here. Anyway, I'm sitting next to the radar guy doing math, and yes, I like to think I'm pretty good at math, but in high school I never took it past tricks, so who knows with more advanced stuff. And I'm not too worried about, I don't know if you're going to have to use calculus or anything like that, but if you're doing trig and doing proficiently, and I don't know what your ASVAB was, or how competent or proficient you were at math, but if you're doing this, you probably likely have the mathematical aptitude to become an air traffic controller. But that's not the only thing, and we'll kind of get into that. Video response, we got that there, so let me go to my notes. And this will kind of be in 3 categories. All right, the simplest way to do this, don't know if it's possible because you're already in school, but why didn't you become an air traffic controller for the Marines? The MOS is 7257. I don't know how long you got to be in artillery or how much of a commitment, if it's too late to switch out of that. But if you're already committed to the artillery for whatever planning the Marines had for you, you'll have to serve that out. But what I would do is see if you can't transition and become a military air traffic controller. Again, it's 7257. And then the FAA directly hires out of the military. They directly hire air traffic controllers in the military. So the most logical, quick route where the military would be paying for your training and you don't have to, is to switch when you can, if possible. So that's what I would recommend. I mean, but here's the other thing, and the military will give you a bunch of tests, and so will the FAA, but you might want to see what you could, because to become an air traffic controller, especially in the civilian world and in the military, there's a bunch of health and biology and math and aptitude tests for you to do, because you got to be on your toes. You got to be doing the math. You got to be young in the civilian world. You want to become an air traffic controller in the civilian world, you have to graduate from their program by the age of 30 or less. They want young guys. They don't want and I kind of found that surprising, because I got older. I'm like, oh, why do you really slow down? And yes, I guess you do really slow down. So much so they don't want old farts like me. So there's a little bit, if you wanted to stay in the military another 8 to 10 years, all right, well, now you're 28. So you better have been taking classes in the military to accelerate if you were to go out in the civilian world. So again, if possible, the best way to become an air traffic controller would be go through the military. But what they'll do is it's the same kind of job. So you're going to have to be on your game. They're going to test you on the same things. And the reason I'm talking about the testing is you may fail the testing. So yeah, you got into the Marines, but there's a different set of qualifications and tests, and you got to do a health check and pass your medical exams and all that. We may be having a moot discussion right now where it's like, oh yeah, we tested it, but your eyes, your eyes aren't good enough, or your spatial testing is not good enough. So while you're in the military, go talk to the higher ups, see if there's a way to become an air traffic controller while you're still in the Marines. See if there's classes you could take. But here's another thing I want you to do. Go and research it for yourself as well, because you may not want to become an air traffic controller. And you need a personality for it. You need the energy for it. You're going to be working obscure hours, especially when you're younger. They may throw you out into far-flung places. There's the traffic control tower over at the airport, but that's only what you see in the movies. There's other places. There's radar installations that kind of are outside of major metro areas that help get the planes from their cruising altitude down to the landing pattern, and then air traffic control takes over it. Way out in the middle of freaking nowhere, there's these remote, larger radar installations that handles all the traffic if everyone's zipping across the sky at 30,000 feet. So you may be stuck in, not even Lincoln, Nebraska. Lincoln may be the town you have to drive to an hour to get to have fun, and Lincoln, Nebraska is not a fun town. So you need to, I'll be in my little hut in Fidgetsville, Nebraska. And there's the one bar there, and you can't do it because you got to be on your game as an air traffic controller. So what I would do is, on your own time, research the culture and lifestyle of an air traffic controller. Heck, if we happen to have any air traffic controllers tuning in, put the comments down below, help out the Marine here. But that's something I can't answer for you. I could say that you're going to be facing a battery of tests, both aptitude, mental, psychological, and health and medical, to see if you're physically and mentally qualified for it. But you may, it's like, I'm at LaGuardia and I could go down to Manhattan and meet really hot chicks. You maybe not. Maybe you're stuck in Bungalow, Kansas, if there is such a place, and you're like, I really don't want to do that. So that's something that you're going to have to do. But again, to reevaluate, try to get in through the military. If you're not going to get through you can't change your MOS, what I would do is thinking about getting out of the military more along the 7 years, maybe not 10, more like 7, and because then you got a lot of stuff to do. And so here it is, just from the FAA. U.S. citizen under 30 by the time, it says right here, on the closing date of the application period. For you are also going to, where's my notes? You're going to have to prove to the FAA that you will be discharged from the military honorably 120 days or less from the time you sign that application. Okay, so you have a unique situation there. If you were to take the military all the way to the point, you're going to do that. Pass a medical examination, pass a security, and then you pass the pre-employment test, the FAA Air Traffic Pre-Employment Test. Now, I tried to do as much research and I couldn't find it. You may want to go and contact the FAA, see if you could take that test, now. See if you even can pass that pre-qualification test. There are testing centers that train you to take this test, and there's also another test. Let me go to it. Where did it go? This is the actual test you got to take. That's the pre-employment. Oh, where did it go? I had it here. There's the pre-employment test that you take, and then there's the actual qualification test you take, and it's like ITAC. Let's take a look here. Air traffic control. But this is, of course, years down the road when you get on a test. ATSA, the ATSA, and there's a bunch of companies. First thing right here, it's an advertisement for test prep. The ATSA test, yeah. And so if there are any, and what I'm pointing out with all these tests, both the ones you take in a classroom setting and the ones they're going to throw at you, if you can find out now that you don't have the vision, you got a heart palpitation, you don't have the math aptitude, if there's a way for you to take tests before you have to go to the school, in which case they won't send you to the school, you answer this question very early. In other words, what I want you to do is find out a way to find out if you can get disqualified from being an air traffic controller. Military would do that for you. So again, maybe you say, hey, I'm thinking about becoming an air traffic controller. Is there tests we got to take here in the military that I can take just for free to see if I even have the aptitude, kind of like an ASVAB? What's my aptitude for this? So if you can take tests while you're in the military now, even while you're still in the artillery, and talk to the air traffic control guys over at the Marines, they say, oh yeah, you need to do this, and that. You can do the medical thing. Oh yeah, talk to medical Dr. Jones. And oh God, no, your eyes visions is bad. Oh no, you don't have enough, I don't know, something in your blood. So if you can find, I can't. Like, if you find out you can't be an air traffic controller now, then you got your time in the military to come up with a different idea and a different career path. Okay? So that's what I'm saying is find out now while you can, if you can, become an air traffic controller. If you can, do it through the Marines. If you can't because whatever, you've committed your 4 years to the artillery, start taking classes while you're in the Marines, while you're in the military, that would go towards it. Because one of the requirements is you have 3 years of progressively responsible work experience. That'll probably be covered in your military experience. Or a bachelor's degree, which you could theoretically earn if you're doing 7 to 10 years in the Marines. You could take classes, oftentimes for free, through the Marines, get yourself a degree. Or a combination of post-secondary education and work experience that totals 3 years. So you should be able to cover that while you're in the Marines. Right? And you should be, unless you're very, very busy in training, which I understand, or we're at war. If you got some downtime, I would not let any time go to waste while you're in the military. Take advantage of every not every free educational opportunities that help you get a job in the field that you want. So if you do find out, oh yeah, you are qualified to go and become a military air traffic controller. Okay, what classes I got to take? Well, here's some classes. Here's what you need to take. And while you're sitting there in the barracks and everybody's going out and getting drunk and pissing off everybody in Iwo Jima so that only the officers now can go downtown and the grunts can't stay. Not the grunts, were you guys? Jarheads. The enlisted can't go because somebody fucked it up for everybody. You're sitting there studying and you're getting your stuff done, and then it's just going to make less classes down on the back end that you got to take. So what else? Pass medical examination. You got to do security, background check. The FAA Air Traffic Pre-Employment Test. The official FAA Air Traffic Pre-Employment Test. And speak English clearly enough to be understood over communications equipment. And then you have your 3 years progressively responsible work experience, or a bachelor's degree, or a combination of post-secondary education and work experience totals here. So I'm not too worried about it because you're stuck there for 4. So you have that there. So while in your here and now, start doing the legwork to find out if you can't be an air traffic controller. If you can, you got your plot and your plan set. Now, getting out of the military, you want to know about other. Go to your thing. In-depth review of that job field, plus some of your recommendations for job military video. Okay, so when it comes to post-military, let's just operate from the assumption you don't qualify to become an air traffic controller. You decide you don't want to do it because you find out you're going to be stuck in Bungalow, Kansas. And then you got to figure out what to do. Here's what the overall philosophy on jobs. I've written about this in several books, and everybody, this isn't just military guys, everybody's got to understand this. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. Okay? Now, I understand Mike Rowe does dirty jobs, and some of those are physically revolting. I get it, but that's with shock and awe. But the vast majority of the jobs you're going to get, it really doesn't matter what you do. All that matters is you're getting paid. Now, I know, well, I prefer to do this, and I know you prefer to do that, but here's, you got to understand this from a philosophical level so you can understand the logic by which you can then go find a job that you want or works best for you. It's all about time, okay? You and I and everybody else is going to die. We have a certain amount of time on this planet. Some have more sand, grains of sand in the hourglass, some have less. But the time is coming, you're going to die. And a job is not what gives you purpose and meaning and value in life. A job is a tool by which you make as much money as you can per hour of your life you're giving up so that you can go and live the rest of your life, ideally in comfort, maybe even luxury, although you find out luxury is quite fleeting. Right? And the reason I'm pointing this out is because everybody, especially young women, but men too, is you're programmed to think that your job is you and it's the most important thing in your life. It is not. A job is a tool. It's like your car. It's like your set of tools. It's like your utensils. It helps you achieve other things in life. And when you boil a job, and there's no such thing as career. There is no career, only jobs. And what you philosophically boil a job or a career down to is you are giving up a percent of your only asset in life, and that is your time, your actual seconds of life, hours of life, every day, not doing what you want to do. Okay? That's basically a job. You're not doing what you want to do. They've especially brainwashed women, young women, to think that, oh yeah, I want to commute and get into CP and get to sit in a power meeting, wear my power suit. Dude, I don't know about you, but what I want to do is like hiking and motorcycling and biking and golfing and playing video games and spending time with my nieces. Maybe you get married, you have kids, you have your own kids, you have to spend time with family. That is life. That is what you want to do. It is not going down to a fucking office, sitting in front of a fucking computer screen, saying, oh, look at me, I'm so important. I'm the Assistant Reserve Diversity and Inclusion Nonprofit Break Glass in Case of Emergency Vice Chancellor of a nonprofit. You're not out having fun. You're not spending time with people. You're not enjoying life. So when you understand what the point and purpose of life is, and that is to go have fun and enjoy it, not work, and don't fall for the trap. Well, if you love what you do, you'd never work a day in your life. That doesn't fucking happen. Okay? Once you realize you're giving up the only thing you have, finite time, then the only thing that matters is how much fucking money you make. And money is not evil. Money is a command on other people's time. Okay? If you get paid $100 in exchange for 1 hour of your time, that $100 now commands multiple other people who are only paid, say, $10 an hour. And see, this is what you've done with specializing and getting a high wage, is in exchanging 1 hour of your time for $100 an hour, you can now go and command by the 10 hours of other people's time to make your sandwich, to refine gas, to do whatever it is that you got to do. Now, sometimes you got to work a lot more hours because you might want a specialist like a heart surgeon or a dentist. Like, oh, he charges $300 an hour. So if you want cavities done, well, you got to work 3 hours to get 1 hour of the dentist time because he's higher skilled than you are. But what you need to understand, I know, okay, air traffic control, that sounds kind of cool. That sounds kind of neat. All the young dude pros, I'm going to become an EMT. I'm going to become a personal trainer and drop ship. You, 18 years old, don't have the time to fuck around with that bullshit. Okay? So, I want it very thoroughly ensconced in your brain that you know what a job is for. It is you essentially dying by hours, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day if you got to commute, 14 if you got to work extra time. Okay? That is a what do they call it? A necropsy, where like it starts, your hands start to die cell by cell. That's work. Work is death. Work is that you do not get to live when you're at work. So, but it's mandatory. You have to sacrifice. You're sacrificing your life to Moloch. Well, there better be some fucking fruits that are paid. So the only thing that matters is how much you are paid. Now, that's a bit of an extreme statement because yes, if I remember Dirty Jobs, Mike Rowe was putting his small finger up the holes, the assholes of alligators to tell whether they're male or female. He went, I'm not making it up, but honestly, because they were at an alligator farm in, of course, Florida or Alabama or something like that. I can understand it. Cleaning out sewers, that's going to suck. So while you're in the military, all right, what you need to do is come up with a job that you can tolerate. If you can, let's say you go with the trig and the math, and all of a sudden you find out you really love computer programming, man. You just think it's great. Well, God bless you, one of the luckiest people ever, because most people don't like computer programming. Sometimes it happens. Every great once in a while it happens. But what I would do, and you're young and you have a little bit of time, I would spend, if assuming you don't become the air traffic controller guy, spend the time researching different professions you think you'd like. Okay? And the first thing you do is when you say, you go to Google or Bing, you type in the title of the job you'd like to have, and you type in BLS after it. You hit search, you click on the link, and the BLS will tell you the median salary. If the that depends what you want to do in life. But honestly, a young man like you that has life ahead of him, and you got the smarts enough to talk to a consult a genius like me, I wouldn't settle for anything that has a median wage of under $70,000. Okay? I wouldn't, because it's just not worth going to school then. You could go to trade school and do something like that. But I would, and if it doesn't have $70,000, it's just an arbitrary, not arbitrary, but this is just me. You don't have to follow that advice. But if it's not $70,000, it's $50,000. It's not worth it. Don't bother with it. Okay. Now, because of the laws of economics, things that are hard means there's less people that do them, and that's why they make more than teachers and social workers and other fucking parasites who don't want to work in society. So in general, you're going to be looking at the world of computer programmers, STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, engineering. You don't want to do look at engineering. While you're on the BLS, please note whether it's just a bachelor's degree or whether you need a doctorate. A lot of bioengineers, you need a doctorate to make the $100,000. It's like, nah, it's not worth it. Read the book Worthless. But it's common sense, man. If you're going to go into accounting, get yourself a CPA. But what's good is while you're in the military, you don't have to wait till you get your GI Bill to start cracking down on college. Okay? If you got the time and you got a little bit of extra money, usually you should be able to find, like, I think it's called American University, not National American University, American University, where you should have some educational opportunities for free through the military, college accredited, real college credit. At minimum, bang out your prereqs, but you're going to go on a wandering in the desert tour while you're in the military, finding out and researching what you'd like to do, because you can't fire shells in the private sector. It'd be great. Those fuckers at Dell, we'll show them. We're Lenovo. And then a war erupts. That'd be very funny. But you need to figure out what general area you'd like to work in that pays. And once you find that out, you say, oh, I'd like to become, I don't know, you want to become a chemical engineer like our good buddy Atham. Then you start taking classes while you're in the military, not full-time, obviously. A class here, a class there. Go online, Western Governors University, ASU online. Get your prerequisites in Marxist, leftist, diversity, fuck people with penises studies, whatever the newest requirements are of colleges and universities. So that when you get out of the military, you not only have a GI Bill, but you got 2 years, maybe even 3 years of college credits under your belt. Now all you have to do is go to school for 1 year or 2 years, and you still got a sizable amount of your GI Bill left over that, if you so choose, you could get a master's degree in a legitimate field. But you won't have it. You save yourself 2 years' time. So you say, you want to know recommendations for jobs post-military, anything that pays. Anything. I can't give you specific advice because it's specific to you. What do you want to do? You don't even know what you want to do. If this air traffic control thing goes, this is why you got to wander in the desert. So start thinking about what you'd like to do. But it doesn't matter as long as it pays. That's it. That's all that matters, man. Now, if you don't want to be rich and you're not going to have 5 kids and you're okay being a bachelor and you're not going to buy fancy cars, you can get by with less. There's nothing wrong being a truck driver. Maybe you switch your MOS in the military to something that does have a civilian counterpart, truck driving, that would be that. You consider the trades, become a plumber or electrician. You mentioned cybersecurity, the world of IT, absolutely, man. They need that in the military. They need that in the civilian world. You became a computer networker. Well, not so much web developer, but full stack developer. Full stack developer, is that what it is? Full stack, what the hell? Software engineer, anything dealing with computers and IT. If you want to do security, see, here's the problem. I'm going into cybersecurity. Really? Well, then you better be an amazing motherfucker at it. Okay, this isn't you gotta start with computer networking, some basic stuff. And then, I don't know, because my buddy explained it to me one time and he's super high level. But that's starting to kind of become I'm going to become an EMT. I'm going to become a professional workout, what do they call it? Personal trainer. It's starting to get a little flooded with you got to go beyond I'm going into cybersecurity and got my A+ certification. You need more than that. But yeah, that's something to explore and evaluate. And then once you figure it out, before you get out of the military, which I wouldn't recommend being in any rush to do, you take as many free classes, as much free educational opportunities as the military offers you. Now watch, all of a sudden you find out you love the military, you become a colonel, you be a career military, this will all be pointless. But it really doesn't matter what I recommend you do, as long as it pays. And ideally, again, you try and find something that you like to do that isn't terribly painful. But don't even bother asking, what would I like to do? It's what can I do? What can I tolerate? What is it going to make me want to shoot up the place because they're acting like a bunch of fucking retards, sticking fingers up alligators' assholes, right? And then, to get your money's worth with this consultation, think about this. You put your 4 years in, you're 22, which you may think is over. You're just brand new. You're still off the assembly line. You have 2 years of a degree knocked out. You have the GI Bill. You graduate with a degree in computer programming. You now can work from anywhere in the world. You got the VA at whatever place you go out to Thailand. You make your $60,000 a year remotely, and you have no student loan debt. And you're living in Thailand, where the cost of living effectively makes your $60,000 a year more like $120,000 a year. You will be golden, son. You will be golden. And compared to the average 22, compared to the average fucking 42-year-old, you'll be financially light years ahead, whether you become an air traffic controller or not. Okay? So there you go. So I was a little bit thorough, but I want to be thorough. Explain the theory of jobs. And kind of, if you want, go get the book Worthless. If you're still looking for guidance, get the book Worthless for, at minimum sake, so you know what definitely not to major in. You don't even have to go to college. You don't have to. Increasingly so, that's the case. But yeah, it's not like, oh yeah, you are artillery, you go here in the civilian world. Doesn't. Oh, one thing before I forget. The military is really big on leadership because it has to be. Obviously, a chain of command, and those generals aren't walking around for no reason. Although some might argue differently. I have seen the mistake of very experienced, very educated military men get out of the military, and they're like, I have all this leadership ability. What? Well, there's no. I should be leading. No. Leadership. All you can have a general. You could have someone who's led a lot. I'm not joking. I'm saying like real legit leadership experience. When you come into the civilian world, it's all worthless because there is no leadership in the civilian world. It's just a bunch of people sucking dick and fucking cock. That's all it is. And whatever leadership you think, ability, skill you have, no. Can you program Python? Can you do tax returns? They want skills. Your leadership, just shove it, just not shove it up here. Throw it away. If you get promoted to CEO, that will help. But don't put developed leadership skills on your fucking resume. All right, it doesn't. It doesn't. No one gives a shit. All right, there you go. Questions, answers. Links down below, assholeconsulting.com. We'll see you guys all later. Toodles.